name is Jaden Rose, and welcome to Island Insider. Breaking news. Menehune are real. They are found playing outside of a local housing area in Makakilo. But first, our top story. Adlerian therapy in the treatment of substance abuse and addiction. What is it? How does it work? And how can this be applied? All of this and more to come in Island Insider, where we cover all things affecting our islands. On to our top story. Adlerian therapy. Alfred Adler developed the approach to therapy known as individual psychology, and in 1912 he founded the Society of Individual Psychology. Today, Adler's influence can be found in numerous areas of psychology. Many of his ideas have found support in the burgeoning field of positive psychology, and his emphasis on the individual social context, like family settings and a larger culture, is supported in many branches of contemporary psychology. A therapy intervention he was known for was the Adlerian therapy model, which is today's top story. This is a comprehensive theory incorporating elements of psychoanalysis, cognitive, behavioral, constructivist, and what we today call postmodern ideas. Today, we are lucky to have with us Dr. Know-It-All. Dr. Know-It-All, what are the reasons to use Adlerian therapy?
Great question, Jaden, and thank you for having me on the show. So, Adlerian therapy serves as an effective and comprehensive intervention for clients struggling with substance abuse, well suited for prevention, treatment, and education of substance abuse problems. It is a brief, time-limited, present and future-oriented, directive, and eclectic, make it suitable for mental health and substance abuse clinicians in today's managed care environment. The approach is flexible enough to incorporate into more traditional forms of substance abuse counseling. Adlerian clinicians are integrative in that they adopt what is useful for their particular client in their particular situation under particular circumstances. Working with substance abuse clients, the Adlerian notion of social interest or one's contribution to society and sense of community and belonging is exceptionally powerful as an idea for those in the path of recovery. It provides a comprehensive assessment and intervention model for clients dealing with substance abuse or addiction. So some tenets of the Adlerian therapy are: Adlerian theorists assume that basic dynamic force is behind all human activity. This force involves a striving from a perceived position of less than or inferior to a position of more than or superiority that always moves towards one's creative lifestyle goals. Because of this, Adlerian therapy has been suggested as a model for understanding personality as well as maladjustment. Maladjustment occurs when one's personal goals are inconsistent with social interests. The person strives for personal superiority without regard of the welfare of others. Useful lifestyle patterns are those that involve movement towards others and endorse the common good. Conversely, useless lifestyle involves movements away from others in the pursuit of selfish interests.
So, Dr. Know-It-All, in our research, we found that in the development of lifestyle, Adler equated lifestyle with other terms such as self, ego, individuality, the whole attitude toward life, and most notably, personality. Lifestyle refers to a series of conclusions that individuals create about themselves, others, and the world. Adler believed in the unity of the individual and proposed that the lifestyle is self-consistent, meaning that individuals express their thoughts, feelings, and act in consistent ways according to their life goals. A lifestyle is also a vague subjective guideline individuals create and use to move throughout life towards those goals that they created. Lifestyle is a central part of humans, and it guides our morality, it tells us how to fit in, and it advises what behaviors accomplish socially useful goals. In general, lifestyle is a philosophy of life and represents someone's plan of action, his or her propensities, and consistent way of being. Is that correct?
You're right, Jaden. Adlerians believe the core assumptions and convictions established in early childhood remain relatively stable throughout their lifespan. Believed to surface via parent-child interaction in early childhood and influenced by social contexts, most notably the family environment. Phenomenological perspectives highlight the emphasis of a person's unique idiosyncratic perceptions of facts and events, family constellation, the nomenclature of the primary influences of a family, their structure, values, and dynamics. Perceptions of their place within the family and various roles they adapt influence how children view the world and interact with others. Sibling relationships play an important role in the psychosocial development. Sibling rivalry, on the other hand, is significant to the lifestyle development in that if the children continue in their patterns to garner attention from parents, these patterns can harden into permanent lifestyle. Understanding private logic. As children mature, develop lifestyle convictions. This is their ideas about themselves, others, and the world. They begin to create their own rules and assumptions that are specific to them as an individual and which form their underlying lifestyle philosophy. Understanding common sense, children with broader experiences become exposed to the perception and views of others, incorporating others' views into their own schemata of the world and begin to develop common sense. Dysfunctional lifestyle occurs when problem solving is based off of self-protection and private logic, rather than more socially useful common sense. Lifestyles that balance private logic with common sense are believed to be more successful at adapting. Basic mistakes are analogs to cognitive distortion, such as the tendency to overgeneralize, and can be so subtle that people do not realize they are using them. So to understand the importance of goals, we have to understand a couple key terms like teleological. The connection between goals and lifestyles lies in the convictions that we hold. If individuals understand the goals of their behavior, they can understand the convictions that move toward their goal. The task of life. From the Adlerian viewpoint, all human problems can be grouped into three categories: occupation, social, and sexual. Social interests, the heart of healthy human functioning. The healthy human is one that lives in society and whose life movement is such that society garners an advantage from his or her work. They focus on empathy towards others, courage to be imperfect, where individuals do not feel a need to elevate themselves or put others down, or even withdraw from life. Although many individuals use substances to enhance group cohesion and bonding, substance use is thought to hinder the growth of genuine connection among members of the group. In understanding the application of Adlerian therapy with substance abuse and addiction problems, we have to understand a couple other key terms. Social interest is the key Adlerian principle. The clinicians help clients to create and pursue positive, socially useful goals. Teleology is the symptoms, including addiction, have a purpose. The idea is to help clients explore this purpose and to find healthier ways to satisfy need. Holism is when clients view things as a whole rather than as labels, such as addicts and alcoholics. Self-determination. It comes down to choice. Clients that choose how they want to live their life, including how much they want to be involved into their own recovery. Phenomenology. All clients who abuse substances are unique individuals with unique cases and influences on their addiction. Understanding the client. The lifestyle assessment is a key strategy in Adlerian therapy. Goal alignment versus denial. Adlerian clinicians establish and maintain mutually cooperative therapeutic relationships where goals, interventions, and outcomes are discussed between clinician and client. Life task emphasis. Most drug and alcohol treatment programs focus on the substances, what it does, and the problems it causes. Prinz, in 1993, states that most clients know this information and can be as knowledgeable as agency staff. What clients are missing are the courage, inspiration, and skill to meet Adler's life tasks. Self. Addicted individuals have not only hurt self. Addicted individuals that have not only hurt others, but have also hurt themselves in the terms of self-loathing, neglect of healthy lifestyle pursuits and hobbies. Cosmos. Spirituality has been included as an additional task of life beyond Adler's original three.
So what I'm hearing is that the 3 goals of Adlerian therapy are 1. Building the relationship with empathy and encouragement, 2. Understanding and investigation with the use of the lifestyle assessment, and 3. Understanding family atmosphere with the use of emotional tone and earlier recollection.
Absolutely, Jaden. So to make sense of the lifestyle assessment, we have to ask a couple questions, right? What are the primary origins of the problem? Physical, psychological, or both? How does the person move related to others and goals? Away from them, towards them, with resistance? Can the purpose of these symptoms be determined? Does the client harbor any unfinished business based off of past experiences? What was the person's family atmosphere like? Family constellation? How do these influence his or her current symptoms? What is this person's level of social interest? Is it evident in the data or is it absent? How does he or she resist social interest, if at all? What is a client's private logic on how to be somebody, how to have a place, and how to be important? What are the patterns or similarities and differences among siblings? What was the client's sense of belonging, security, and being cared about in the family? What are the client's strengths and how can they be used in counseling? What was the experiences of completing the assessment like for the client? What was it like for he or she to recount childhood experiences? What insights emerge from the client?
Based off of what you just said, my understanding is that when the clinician is interpreting the results of the lifestyle assessment, they should take these 3 things into account. That 1, each meaning is an approximation of the truth. 2, they should be offered in a tentative manner, like with the hypothesis interpretation. And 3, revisions can always be made if interpretation doesn't fit with the client's experiences.
Absolutely. So in understanding this, we have to understand reorientation and change. The final stage where clients are taught the likely reasons for their current struggles and methods to overcome them. Like having insight is necessary but not sufficient for behavior change. Clients must practice a new way of being, a fundamental shift in thinking, behaving, and feeling. Techniques are of secondary importance to understanding empathy and compassion. The 4 main techniques, lifestyle assessment, miracle question, increased social interest, and encouragement. So let's go talk about these. Lifestyle assessment, a key strategy used to learn about the client and the ideas for interventions. The miracle question. If a miracle happened and you no longer had your symptoms, how would your life be different? Clinicians will determine if the client's response is physiological or psychological based or both. Increase social interest. Clinicians may encourage clients who struggle with addiction to become a sponsor in a group or encourage clients to consider how they can give more to their community. Encouragement. The talent, skill, and ability a client brings are honored and used as resources in the counseling process. This is the cornerstone behind healthy human development. A role of the client is catching oneself. This encourages the client to be mindful of when symptoms occur and to catch themselves in the act of performing their symptoms. This also teaches clients to spy on troubling symptoms. The client can stop themselves in their track before performing these symptoms.
So acting as if is based on the theory of mental fictions or subjective ideas that humans hold onto but do not have much basis in reality. It encourages clients to consider possibilities for alternative behaviors as a way to narrate positive, more preferred ways of living. Adlerians also believe that one does not need to change emotions before behavior can be changed. Sometimes clients must behave a certain way first, and then emotions and motivation would follow afterward. This specific method may need to be graded down or tweaked. Like many things, it needs to be tailored to your client's specific needs in that moment.
Yes. So understanding the reflective process. So we have 3 phases. Phase 1, the clinician uses reflective questions to access the creativity of the client in terms of what a change in behavior would look like. Phase 2, the client and clinician co-construct a list of behaviors that reflect preferred actions that the client will engage in consistent with his or her goals. These actions are ranked from least challenging to most challenging. And finally, phase 3, the client and clinician select the least challenging behavior for the client to try. More difficult behaviors from the list are explored over time. So a couple techniques that clinicians use is the push button technique, which has 3 phases. So phase 1, clients are asked to get in a relaxed position, close their eyes, and recall pleasant memories in which they felt content, successful, and confident. Phase 2, clients are asked to close their eyes and bring up unpleasant memories or a time when they felt negative feelings such as sadness, depression, or anger. Then phase 3 has 2 components. 1, the clients are asked to again recall a pleasant memory with associative positive feelings. 2, the clinician and client process this experience. So the clients need to find purpose of these symptoms, referring to exploring and helping clients find a purpose behind the addiction. Includes assessing what is gained and what is avoided, primarily in the terms of tasks of life. This can also come from a lifestyle assessment or can be a standalone technique. Talking about empirical evidence, positive association between social interest, mental health, and negative associations among social interests, alcohol, and other drug abuse. Lifestyle themes strong in social interest emerge as significant predictors of substance use. Addicted individuals score significantly higher on lifestyle themes that emphasize immediate gratification and satisfying personal need for significance. Research confirms Adler's notion that enhanced social interest plays a key buffer against problematic use of drugs. Other themes that contribute to severe substance use problems include the desire to escape from reality, displayed a deep-seated denial pattern, and engaging in an everlasting struggle for fulfillment. In understanding treatment of diverse population, Adlerian therapy is not designed to tell clients what to do or how they should proceed, which would disrespect their values, goals, ambitions, and sociocultural contexts in which clients live. It also emphasizes social interests, strength in a community, flexibility to explore within sociocultural contexts, and the importance of placing the collective above individual needs. Adler's approach resonates well with Asians, Native Americans, Mexican Americans, and African American values of social group identity, along with individual growth within social contexts. Some key Adlerian constructs to keep in mind of is the phenomenological perspective, stressing the client's perspective of his or her environment and how he or she makes meaning of his or her cultural experience. Another one is the idiographic orientation, the idea that each individual is unique and a clinician should tailor their treatment with these uniqueness in mind. Some strengths, limitations, and ethical issues for Adlerian therapy. Strengths, which include it is very comprehensive, holistic, flexible, diverse clientele, consistent with recent trends in psychotherapy, and respectful of clients' differences. Some limitations include sometimes not appropriate, and more research is still needed for the application with diverse populations. An ethical issue that may arise is when there is a discrepancy between what the clinician wants and what the client wants. Definitely things we need to take in consideration when applying Adlerian therapy to our clients.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Know-It-All. That was so informative, and I'm sure all the viewers at home learned just as much as I did about what Adlerian therapy is and what it looks like in the treatment of substance abuse and addiction.
Thanks for having me. See you next time.
Next, we are so lucky to have a volunteer clinician and client here to demonstrate to us what Adlerian therapy looks like in action. Take it away, ladies.
Okay. All right. So, hello, Michaela. It's good to see you today. So as we discussed during our initial consultation, we agreed to begin with the lifestyle assessment. So before we begin, do you have any questions for me at this point?
No,
Okay, great. So let's get started. So let me first start off with, how would you describe your role in the family when you were growing up, and what roles did you and your siblings perform?
My role in the family. So pretty much I was the peacemaker. I didn't really get into trouble all that much. I used a lot of humor to kind of get through things in my household, I think, and keep the peace, especially between my mom and my dad. Amanda, my younger sister, I don't think she really had a role. I mean, I love her, but she sort of disappeared a lot when we were kids. And I
Mhm.
think that was her way of handling the chaos in my home.
Okay, all right. And did you have any nicknames growing up when you were a child?
Um, yeah, so like I was really skinny as a kid, and my dad liked to use that to make me the target of a lot of name calling and jokes and stuff. Um, he was pretty abusive, and he really liked to just kind of push my buttons, and um, he would target like my physical appearance as a kid. So I was really skinny, and he would like poke fun at me. He would call me Skinny Bone Jones. He would call me a stick. He would be like, "Oh, you cannot even hardly see her because she's so skinny." Um, and even though I laughed, I think I developed a real deep insecurity about my physical appearance.
Mhm.
And my dad compared me a lot to other girls, and he would say that they, I guess, looked a lot healthier. So he would ask me why I didn't look as healthy as they did.
Okay. It's unfortunate having to hear that about your case, and then always comparing you to other people. And that's, I can see how it make you upset or sad. And as if you weren't even good enough for him.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, what were some of your childhood fears, if you had any, and how did your family handle those fears?
Oh, so I had a really weird fear growing up. Um, I would do this thing where like I would try to pray correctly, and I wasn't even religious growing up. Like I didn't grow in a religious home at all. But around the age of like 10 or 12, I developed this really strange ritual. And I know it sounds weird, but I would have to pray the correct way. So like if I didn't, like I would pray, and then if I didn't pray correctly, I would have this thought pop into my head that like something bad was going to happen to me, um, or to my parents. And I think that was like one of my hugest fears. I really see that it's irrational now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I wasn't even Catholic, but I grew up around a lot of Catholics. So maybe that's where I picked up like prayer and signing the cross, like making the sign of the cross. But anyway, I would do the sign of the cross after every prayer. And if I didn't do that perfectly, I would force myself to keep doing it again and again and get it right, or something bad would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, eventually that went away, and I was involved in sports because I was a really good athlete. But I was always scared that like I would fail or get an injury. I mean, it was weird. Sometimes my fears or religious hangups would even cause me to be late to school. But I
Mm-hmm.
think most of those fears are gone now, and fear has just always played a big part in my life. So it's who I am. No wonder I'm depressed.
I hear you loud and clear. You're unsure of how some of these fears develop, but one thing that you do know and that you're clear about is that fear has been running your life. So could you describe how it was growing up in your family?
Oh, yeah, that's easy. Let's see. Definitely stormy, alcoholic, chaotic, angry, abusive, unpredictable, and sad. I mean, there were some bright moments, but the majority of my childhood I would say was negative. I can't even remember a time when there wasn't some crisis or my dad wasn't running his mouth because of his drinking.
Okay, so I'm gonna shift this a little, Michaela. We're gonna talk about your sibling and your parents. So you mentioned that you have one sibling, right, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me, is she older, younger, and what is the age difference between you two?
She is 25 and she's 3 years younger.
Okay, and did you get along with each other? Like, how was your relationship with her?
Like typical sibling relationship, we would get into arguments and stuff, but I pretty much always got along with her.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad to see her so withdrawn though when our parents would argue. I felt like I had to protect her,
Okay, and
especially when our dad left.
oh, okay, I see. So, who do you think started the fights more with between you and your sister?
I rarely fought with her.
Oh, okay, well that's good. And did you guys used to play together when you guys were younger?
We played a lot when we were younger. We went our separate ways though, I would say when I was like 7 or 8,
Mm-hmm.
because I was into sports and she was more into like music and band.
Okay, and who do you think was more of the protector?
I was definitely more the protector at home and at school.
Okay, and do you think you and Amanda are similar, or do you think you folks are different? And describe that to me.
I think we're more different than similar. I'm more of a motivator and go-getter, probably more impulsive. My younger sister, she's more withdrawn and likes to keep to herself.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to your parents. How do you think the relationship with your parents were? Do you think their marriage was happy? Do you think it was unhappy? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, their marriage was terrible, just terrible. I can't remember a time when my parents weren't fighting. It was a very unhappy experience.
Oh my gosh, that's unfortunate. So, how do you think your parents related to you and your sister?
My dad was kind of in and out of my life.
Mm-hmm.
He would show up pretty much whenever he wanted, but we never knew when. He was also very abusive. He would beat me, especially when he was drunk or high. He didn't seem to touch my sister, though. It was like he took all his anger out on me, and he would often threaten me. I never felt like I connected with him. My mom, on the other hand, she was always there for me, and I love her. I felt sad that she was with such an abusive person who was my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as far as my sister, my dad kind of ignored her. They didn't really have a lot in common or a lot to talk about. And my mom pretty much treated her the same way she treated me.
Okay. And who do you think received most of the attention from your parents?
I think I definitely got more attention than my sister, but it was usually from my dad yelling at me.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom pretty much showed us both equal attention.
Okay. And could you describe your mom and dad?
Yeah, so my dad was a welder for a local construction company. He was an alcoholic. He was a very angry person. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was involved with drugs. I think he may have done like cocaine or heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is most painful to me right now, though, is that he seemed to like people outside of his family better than his own family. And he treated others better so that they wouldn't know how abusive he was. Um, my mom was and still is a really kind person. And it's really hard to see how they even got together. My mom was more the glue that held the family together until my dad left because there was no way she was going to leave on her own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my mom tends to worry a lot, and can sometimes nag and be overbearing, but she does have a really kind heart, and I love her dearly.
I see. So, who do you think between you and your sister, who do you think favored your dad the most or favored mom most?
I think Amanda and I felt the same about our dad. We just didn't like him. Um, and as much as we wanted to connect with him, we just grew to hate him.
Oh, I see. Okay. And who was more ambitious for their child, your mom or dad, and in what ways?
My mom definitely was more ambitious when it came to parenting us. But I don't think she really knew what was going on with my dad when he was like getting drunk or high or cheating. So she was kind of in the dark. But a lot of her energy was used up in covering up his mess. And I think that's what caused her to fall into a depression.
Oh, all right. So I have one last question for you. If somehow a miracle happened and this problem with substance use went away, how do you think your life would be different?
Wow, good question. How would my life be different? So I think I'd definitely be getting along better with my partner. I think my relationship would improve. Um, I think I'd also be a little more motivated at work. I mean, I do like my job, but lately I've been feeling kind of blah at work. I wouldn't be so angry, and maybe even my health would improve. Yeah, I guess a lot would be different.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, I want to thank you for opening up and telling me about some of your childhood. And do you have any final questions before we kind of wrap this up?
Yeah. Do I get to set another appointment to see you?
Yes, of course. We can go ahead and schedule one right now.
Okay.
Thank you,
All
ladies,
right.
for such a great demonstration of what Adlerian therapy looks like in action. We hope that today's segment gave everyone a better understanding of what Adlerian therapy is and what it looks like in the treatment of substance abuse and addiction. That's all the time we have for today, but we thank you so much for joining us today at Island Insider. And until next time, stay safe, wash your hands, and be well.